ito ay may makakapanayin po tayo, makakasama sa ating programa. Nasa linya na po ating komunikasyon si Professor Malindog-Uy, isang political analyst. Kaugnay pa rin dito sa work visit ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. sa Amerika. Prof, good morning. Si Jade ito at si Admar sa Pulso ng Bayan. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Good morning, Admar at saka Jade, at maraming salamat sa pag-imbita niyo sa akin dito sa inyong programa. It's a beautiful morning.
Ayun, at kung nakita mo, narinig mo at napanood mo yung speech o talumpati na ating Pangulo doon sa UN General Assembly, ano naman ang inyong masasabi? Pananaw dito, Prof?
So far naman, ang magaganda naman yung mga na-mention niyang na-mention niyang mga points, especially when you talk about, sinabi niya about climate change issues at saka development of advanced technology, may yung issue ng geopolitical polarities which is happening at the moment, at saka yung injustices daw during the pandemic. Those are good things, I think, that na-mention niya. At the same time, parang na-mention din niya yung tinatawag na racism, yung parang issue ng Asian hate and also prejudice against Asian people, probably in the United States kasi mataas ang Asian hate crime sa United States, no? He also parang inaasahan din niya ata ang suporta ng mga member states ng UN doon sa ating bid to be part of the non-permanent members of the Security Council ng UN. So far naman, those things are okay, no? But there were, I think may mga pronouncements siya, not necessarily only sa UN General Assembly, but in other meetings na sa US na medyo questionable sa akin. Why ganon ang kanyang stand, especially I think dun sa kanyang speech na dineliver sa stocks exchange ata or security exchange ba yon ng New York. So may mga na-mention siya doon na parang taliwas sa historical truths about PS-US relations since the time of colonization. So parang nagtaka lang ako, medyo na-shock ako ng konti. Kasi una sinabi niya doon sa speech niya, not necessarily I think in the UN, no, but even before that, going back to the UN speech, I think relatively speaking it was a good speech except for certain things lang na parang like for example na nakita ko na or na parang nakita ko at na point out na note ko na ginamit niya yung word na rules-based order. Sabi ko, parang ang Amerika lang atang gumagamit ng word na to at saka yung kanyang Western allies, no? Kasi they're using it, but actually the rest of the world or the international community don't use it. It's really just the US and its allies, its Western allies. Rules-based order. Kasi ang right term talaga dyan is supposed to be international rule or international rule regulations based on international law. So medyo na okay. Tapos may iba pang mga na-mention na hindi sa UN I think particularly but in other venue na medyo nagtataka lang ako why ganon ang statement ng ating Pangulo, tulad ng sinasabi niya na the US never failed the Philippines. The US parang is like ano yung headline ngayon sa
Baga Philippines without US is unimaginable, sabi niya.
Oo, parang parang gano'n yung mga reaction ko. At the same time, meron pang isa na parang bang the US never failed the Philippines and then the US is like, parang kolonya pa rin ba tayo or are we a colony still of the US? Sa mga ganong statement. Kasi if you look at the historical perspective about peace-US relation, ang nagsimula ang Philippine-US relation during the time of colonization of America, of the Philippines, no? And if you trace back history, many times over, the US failed the Philippines many times, in many occasions, if you really look at the history. So parang hindi ako nag-agree doon sa statement na yon. Recent history is like, for example, Marawi siege. The US failed us in that, no? During that time, President Duterte was asking them for arms because we need to fight terrorism in Marawi. Pero anong sabi nila? May limited arms embargo tayo. Hindi tayo pinagbentahan ng armas. Anong nangyari? Eh di syempre, we went and asked help from China and Russia, and they provided us with the needed arms na para labanan ang terorismo dyan sa Marawi during the Marawi siege. That's another indication that US failed us. Another one is what? During Scarborough Shore standoff. Hindi nakalimutan ba niya 'yon? Na US failed us in that regard. So medyo may mga statements siya while he is in the US na para bang sandali lang. Probably there's a need to trace the historical truths about these things, no? Pero well, I mean, that's my opinion and that's probably my perspective. If I will base it really in historical perspective, no? So those are the things na para bang okay na sana eh. Pero para bang, my God, bakit ganun ang statement? Yun yung mga ganun na tipo na parang hindi ako comfortable or uncomfortable ako sa ganung statement.
Sa palagay mo, Prof, siguro, bagamat nasabi niya yung pahayag na yon dahil nasa Amerika siya at syempre, hindi naman siguro negatibo ang sasabihin niya doon ayon sa mga ilan sa ating mga manunood. Pero sinabi niya, binigyan din niya na kaibigan pa rin, nananatiling kaibigan ng Pilipinas sa lahat ng bansa.
Eh wala namang problema pagdating sa aspeto na we're pursuing, kasi ang sinabi niya sa UN system, sa UN General Assembly speech niya is the Philippines is a friend to all and an enemy to none, which is really true. We're not an enemy to any country at all. We want to be friends to all, but that has a difference when you talk about historical truths. You cannot distort history. And you cannot go beyond history kung anong nandun at anong nakasunod, ano yung nangyari talaga. When you talk of US-Philippine relations, iba yun eh. Iba yung perspective na yun eh. Kasi ang iniisip ko, iba kasi yung you stand on principle eh. And stand on what happened and what's the truth. So yun eh. Magkaiba kasi yun eh. Yung assertion mo na you're trying to pursue an independent foreign policy, that's good. That's really very important. But you cannot say na, the US did not fail us. But because it failed us many times over, and it's based on, and history will tell you that. So medyo hindi ako okay doon sa part na yon. So mas ganun ang reaction ko, pero I don't have any disagreement na the US is a friend to the Philippines and the US is a good partner of the country. Pero that doesn't mean that we turn a blind eye to the historical truths na meron ang Pilipinas with regard to the US in terms of relationship. Kasi hindi pwede yun. Parang you're blind to it? Of course not. No, it's not the way you go, it's not the way forward. We need to acknowledge these historical truths for us to find our way forward. Ganun talaga yun. You learn from history. If you don't learn from history, then you're doomed as a country. Ganun yun eh. Kasi ang history mo ang magtitingin kung paano mo aayusin at paano mo tatahakin ang landas patungong future eh. Ganon yan eh. At doon ka magle-learn sa mga foreign policies mo at anong gagawin mo. Ganon yan eh. I'm sorry, no? I know that there are so many Marcos loyalists out there. But I'm not speaking as like I'm against the president. No, I'm just pointing out that there are certain things that probably needs to be reflected on and pondered on. No? Para maisip din natin, diba?
Anong dating para sa inyo dito sa pahayag ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, doon naman sa ibang mga kaalyado ng ating bansa, tulad na lamang ng China na kilalang tayo kaalyado nitong bansang ito?
Well, I think mga ibang, ganito lang yung kasimple, no? The international community, especially those people who knows the history of the country really well, no? Kasi I mean, it's an open book, no? We were a colony of the United States. There are a lot of military bases in this country. There are 5 EDCA bases in the country. The Philippines is the longest outpost of the United States in terms of military and strategic and security in the Asia-Pacific region. They have still the military bases here. They've been here for the longest time, militarily speaking. We have the BFA, we have the EDCA, we have all the military alliance agreements with the United States. The world knows that, no? And they know our history. So talking about these things, I don't think it's like funny in the international community. So that's what I'm pointing out, no? So I think other countries will try to look at it like, ganun yung reaction siguro na ibang countries. No, but of course they will not say anything bad against us because out of respect, out of diplomacy, of course country has to, just just to be diplomatic
Yes, Prof.
about this. Pero of course in private circles, pag-iisipan niya, talaga? Ganun na yun. Kasi ako nga na Pilipino, parang na ako kaninang umaga, parang, really? The US never failed the Philippines? Really? Yun yung mga reactions na magiget mo. Pero don't get me wrong, no? The president spoke a lot of good things in his speech, a lot of things that's very, very important both for the country and the international level. Pero yung mga certain things lang dapat na refine at dapat siguro pinag-isipan muna before pa na-deliver. No? Kasi I believe that we need to stand in principle sa lahat ng mga nangyayari sa mundo. And we need to respect our own history, I think, no? At yung historical truths na mayroon tayo. Because that's the only way we can say na we are an independent country. No?
Prof,
and we stand on these things.
Yes.
No?
Huli na lang siguro, Prof, bago ka namin pakawalan ngayong umaga, ano po yung inaasahan na lang po ninyo dito sa naging work visit ng Pangulo?
Hopefully yung work visit niya sa US would generate more investments for us, and I hope that to a certain extent the Philippine-US relation will be strengthened in that sense, no? But I just hope as well that he knows how to calibrate things, no? Because if you look at the world right now, you have dalawang batong nag-uumpugan, no? You have two superpowers who are nag-uumpugan. Tapos, in that sense, ang Pilipinas ay nagigitna tayo in most cases sa nag-uumpugang dalawang bato na to. So, siguro naman, hindi natin gustong lalo pang magitgit dyan at lalo pang ilagay ang sarili natin na maipit sa nag-uumpugang dalawang bato. And statements, especially when you talk about statement in international community, is very important because that's the way, doon magsisimula kung paano tayo piniperceive ng ibang country, especially ng China, at kung paano tayo pumuposisyon din sa international community. So I think that's very important, and I think we need to be prudent about all these things, and I think the President, whoever his advisors on foreign policy, has to take note of these things. No, we need to think na sa international level, ang Pilipinas is just one player. Mas maraming malalaking players dyan. At may dalawang nag-uumpugang bato na kailangan mong i-navigate kung paano ka puposisyon. And statements is very important kasi dyan nakukuha ang perception ng ibang country kung saan ka pumuposisyon. And I hope these things has to be considered and to be consider at saka talagang bigyan ng pansin. Yun yung tingin ko dyan, no? Initial pa lang to na assessment at the moment kasi kailangan ko pa rin himayin ang speeches ni President Marcos sa kanyang visit sa US at probably I'll be writing an article about this and I'll be sharing it to the public as well.
All right, maraming
But of
salamat,
course,
Prof.
I'm very supportive of the current administration. Don't get me wrong, no?
Yes.
But hindi pwede tayong tumahimik kapag may nakikita tayong may mga konting glitches.
Ayun.
I think it's very important. No?
Malasakit, Prof, para sa ating...
Yes, malasakit yan para sa bayan. Ang loyalty natin is to the country, not to any politician at all. Even presidente, kapag may mali ang presidente or may nakikita tayong konting glitches lang, we need to say something because that's the only way he learns from all these things, no? Mahirap yung blind ka to everything. Hindi ako ganon, sorry.
Thank you, Prof. Sa uulitin po at ingat po kayo. Maraming salamat.
Salamat!
Ayan, good morning.
Mainit na naman to, my God!